you very much, Wayne. Now let me share my screen first. Okay. Okay.
What's in the box? Whatever it is, it must be pretty important because I've traveled with it, moved it from apartment to apartment to apartment. Sound familiar? Did you know that we Americans have about 3 times the amount of space we did 50 years ago? 3 times. So you'd think with all this extra space, we'd have plenty of room for all our stuff, right? Nope. There's a new industry in town, a $22 billion, 2.2 billion square foot industry, that of personal storage. So we've got triple the space, but we become such good shoppers that we need even more space. So where does this lead? Lots of credit card debt, huge environmental footprints, and perhaps not coincidentally, our happiness levels flatline over the same 50 years. Well, I'm here to suggest there's a better way, that less might actually equal more. I bet most of us have experienced at some point the joys of less. College, in your dorm, traveling in a hotel room, camping, where you got basically nothing, maybe a boat. Whatever it was for you, I bet that among other things, this gave you a little more freedom, a little more time. So I want to suggest that less stuff and less space are going to equal smaller footprint. It's actually a great way to save you some money, and it's going to give you a little more ease in your life. So I started a project called Life Edited at lifeedited.org to further this conversation and to find some great solutions in this area. First up, crowdsourcing my 420 square foot apartment in Manhattan with partners Mutopo and Javoto.com. I wanted it all. Home office, sit-down dinner for 10, room for guests, and all my kite surfing gear. With over 300 entries from around the world, I got it, my own little jewel box. By buying a space that was 420 square feet instead of 600, immediately I'm saving 200 grand. Smaller space is going to make for smaller utilities, save some more money there, but also a smaller footprint. And because it's really designed around an edited set of possessions, my favorite stuff, and really designed for me, I'm really excited to be there. So how can you live little? 3 main approaches. First of all, you need to edit ruthlessly. We've got to clear the arteries of our lives. That shirt that I haven't worn in years, it's time for me to let it go. We've got to cut the extraneous out of our lives, and we've got to learn to stem the inflow. We need to think before we buy. Ask ourselves, is that really going to make me happier? Truly? By all means, we should buy and own some great stuff, but we want stuff that we're going to love for years, not just stuff. Secondly, our new mantra, small is sexy. We want space efficiency. We want things that are designed for how they're used the vast majority of the time, not that rare event. Why have a 6-burner stove when you rarely use 3? So we want things that nest, we want things that stack, and we want to digitize. You can take paperwork, books, movies, and you can make it disappear. It's magic. Finally, we want multifunctional spaces and housewares. A sink's combined with a toilet. A dining table becomes a bed, same space. A little side table stretches out to seat 10. In the winning Life Edited scheme in a render here, we combine a moving wall with transformer furniture to get a lot out of the space. Look at the coffee table. It grows in height and width to seat 10. My office folds away, easily hidden. My bed just pops out of the wall, 2 fingers. Guests move the moving wall, have some fold-down guest beds. And of course, my own movie theater. So I'm not saying that we all need to live in 420 square feet, but consider the benefits of an edited life. Go from 3,000 to 2,000, from 1,500 to 1,000. Most of us, maybe all of us, are here pretty happily for a bunch of days with couple bags, maybe small space, hotel room. So when you go home and you walk through your front door, take a second and ask yourselves, could I do with a little life editing? Would that give me a little more freedom? Maybe a little more time? What's in the box? It doesn't really matter. I know I don't need it. What's in yours? Maybe, just maybe, less might equal more. So let's make room for the good stuff. Thank you.
Okay, so that ends the video. I'm going to do my analysis. Okay, so the speech just now was about minimalism. So it is my responsibility in this project to dissect the speech and look into the things that has been used by the speaker. First thing is about the speech structure. We have a few speech structure available out there. We have chronological, if you want to talk about the thing that has happened in the past, present, and also in the future. We have cause and effect. We have problems and solution. But in that speech just now, the speaker has used a topical speech structure, meaning to say he has a theme, which was minimalism, and the points that he used are indirectly related with the theme. And also type of speeches. Basically, we have four type of speeches, which is speech to inform, speech to entertain or humorous speech, speech to persuade, which was that speech, and also a motivational speech or speech to inspire. Now, the persuasive type of speech is a type of speech that is arranged in a way when you want people to accept a part or the whole speech that you have delivered, which was the speech that has been used by the speaker just now. Moving on. If we look in the introduction, so the speaker used some knowledge when he talked about, did you know that Americans have about 3 times the amount of space that we did 50 years ago? Now, when we are crafting a speech, there is a thing known as Aristotle rhetorical triangle, consists of logos, pathos, and ethos. That is logic or knowledge, emotion, and also credibility. So this speaker managed to use logos in the beginning of that speech. And if we look at the examples that he used, throughout his speech, he used a rhetorical devices known as a triad, or also known as the law of three, meaning to say when he used examples, he maxed the examples by 3. So why did he use this technique? When you are delivering a speech, when you use examples, if you use too much examples, then people are not going to be able to remember it, especially if your speech is compacted into 5 to 7 minutes. So by using this technique, it helps your audience to be able to follow your pattern of thought, which was very good. I find it useful because people are going to be able to hold on their interest in listening to the speaker towards the end of his speech. So that was the introduction. Moving on to the points that he used. Now, in his points, he used what is known as the triads as well. But the thing that I like was the use of signpost. When you are speaking to an audience, it would be best if you can guide them throughout the speech. And the speaker just now has shown us a very good example, because when he used his first example, he said, first of all, after have done with that, moving on, he said, secondly, and towards the end, he said, finally, and then he ended up his speech. Now, this is very good to guide your audience. Some people, they're very good in visual. Some people, they're very good in listening to you. So when you are delivering a face-to-face type of presentation, it's good when you can move from one point to another point and you move on the stage. But in the situation where you are not able to do that visually, it would be best if you can guide your audience by using this, the words, which is known as the signpost. And if we look at the example that he used, it follows a climax factor. The first point was good. The second point was better. And the last point was the best. So if you really listen to the speech, it has this climax factor that started from the bottom and moving up to the top. And lastly, if we look at the closing, so he uses a type, he tried to appeal to the emotion of the listeners. He says, I'm not saying that we are to live in a 420 square feet, but consider the benefits of an edited life. So this way of using words can help the audience to think towards the end of the speech. And if you have the ability to provoke them to listen to your speech, then you are already successful in getting the attention of your audience. And lastly, the thing that I like about the speech just now was the call to action. Towards the end, he gave them a few suggestions, and it's up to the audience whether or not they are going to do that or not. And this is the aim in a persuasive speech. You are not forcing your ideology towards them, but you are giving them an option and things that they can change in the future, and also to challenge the status quo. So that ends my speech analysis for today. Over to you, Wayne.
Okay, thank you very, very much. A wonderful presentation. Can you believe